What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this beautiful Monday evening? Well, we're here to talk some Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams Monday Night Football. What's going on, everybody? It is your host, the AZ Sports Fan, aka Mike, whatever you want to call me. But we are all here to talk some football, ladies and gentlemen. I am very excited about this game. Oh my God, prime time at its finest here, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys do not have ESPN, which is usually where Monday Night Football comes through, if you are in the Valley, you're in Arizona, or I'm not sure about Arizona, but it is channel 15, ABC. Wherever your ABC is, that's what's most likely going to be on where it's going to be played. If you're nationally, you're not here. If you don't have ESPN, I don't really know any other way for you to watch it. But ladies and gentlemen, we're very excited about this game here coming around. If you could do me a huge favor, ladies and gentlemen, smack that like button. If you're coming through, let's ring it up, man. Let's ring it up. We're going to have a very good show today. We have a lot of good talking points, and obviously I have another special guest here. Well, actually, it's my good friend, Joseph from the Cardinal Rule. We're going to go ahead and talk it up, and we're going to be talking about Cardinals versus Rams. But before we get started here, big shout out to everybody that's currently in the chat. What is going on? We have Rod Jabber, Arizona Cardinal fan, Mohammed, Jerome, Awesome Kid, Lennon. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Jordan P in the house. This is going to be a fantastic show, man. Let's get this started here. Let me get my good friend here, Joseph, on here so we can start talking some Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams here. Let me get a couple things here situated here. Joseph, what's up, dude? How you doing, man?
Man, I am good, dude. Primetime football when it matters. Does it get better than this?
It doesn't. It does not. I am very, very excited about this game, man. This game has huge implications just all around. If you guys aren't a football, buff like we are, obviously there was a lot of huge games that happened over this weekend that we'll talk about a little later on in this stream. But the Arizona Cardinals just needs to take care of business, right?
Yeah, this, and we'll talk about all the reasons why, but winning tonight is really important for things like the division seeding and all of that. So this is a big game, and and I was on a stream with a Rams YouTuber, and he asked, "What do we want to call this matchup?" And I'm like, calling it a streak of our own. Let's start our own winning streak against the Rams, right? They had an 8-0 win streak with Sean McVay. Let's turn the tables and let this be the start of a winning streak.
I absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. Well, let's get started here. I do have a Rams fan up here. He says, as a Rams fan, no excuse, but we're out for blood in Arizona. That's the type of stuff that I want to hear because let's be honest, there is not really good news coming from the Rams side, and that's what we're going to dive into here right now. Let me get my banner all situated here. If you guys didn't know, and if you guys are living under a rock, and if you don't have Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, but breaking news just hit the NFL world, being that Jalen Ramsey, well, not just hit, probably about 4 hours ago, but Jalen Ramsey, as well as Tyler Higbee for the Los Angeles Rams, among other players, but those are the two big notable key pieces that they have. They will not be playing today due to testing positive for COVID. Man, how do you feel about this? What was your initial reactions when you heard this?
My initial reaction was, I hate to say this, but man, there's going to be some Rams fans that if the Cardinals win are going to use that as an excuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, obviously the Rams could still win, but it does give the Cardinals an advantage, right? Obviously, Jalen Ramsey, arguably the best cornerback in the NFL. That's huge. Tyler Higbee, a key offensive weapon, and you mentioned there's a lot of other players who are out there. Rob Havenstein, an offensive tackle's out. They've got another cornerback, Dante Dion, who's out. They're banged up, right? And the Cardinals are as healthy as they've been since really opening day, right? So
yeah.
It is huge in a game that matters, and sometimes people complain, but the Cardinals fans, we weren't whining when the Cardinals were out. Kyler, DeAndre Hopkins, and the Cardinals came out and took care of business, right? Went 2-1. So it matters. It helps the Cardinals out. But that's, the NFL is a war of attrition, right? And that's just how it works.
Exactly. 100%, man. I could kind of paint this picture for you here when I heard this news. Obviously, we have a lot of great subscribers that, Myself, I'm not on Twitter every day. So sometimes I do rely on a lot of subscribers to kind of reach out to me, but I was playing a video game and I was just, into it. And then I got my phone blowing up on me and I got a few subscribers saying huge news, Ramsey Higbee. I was like, oh my goodness, let's pause this video game and let's go ahead and make a post here on Instagram because it is huge, man.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey probably seemed to be one of the best quarterbacks of the NFL. And let's be honest, he was going to be the one probably on DeAndre Hopkins. And being that he's not there in that, how do I describe it? When I see Jalen Ramsey, I definitely obviously see him as a leader within that defense just in general. You do have some other leaders as well with your Aaron Donald as well as your, your Von Miller, but man, not having Jalen Ramsey there is huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And their secondary or their whole, the cornerback situation is not the best to be like at this very moment. And to add this on there, it sucks even more. Now, talking about Higbee, kind of the same, circumstance. Now, we're not the same last year. Cardinals were our weakness, our kryptonite was the tight ends, but Higbee was still a playmaker that we always had to kind of look to see where he was at. And now that he's not there, who's the replacement? Do you know?
Let's see. The tight ends in terms of who's got the next highest number of snaps, is going to be Johnny Munt, who's graded pretty well. I have PFF's grades in front of me. Like Tyler Higbee has 703 snaps, and their second guy has 102 snaps. To give you an idea.
Sheesh.
So, so they're going to have to, probably look to the receivers more. But that cornerback situation is really, I think, the bigger issue for the Rams. Obviously, we talk about how good Ramsey is, but Dante Dion is their second highest graded cornerback. He plays in the slot a lot. But one of the things we know about the Arizona Cardinals this year more than any year in recent history is they spread the ball out. Right. So it's not like you can just put your best cornerback, the best healthy cornerback that they have left on one receiver because they've spread it out so much. So the Rams being thin at cornerback is all that much more of a problem against a receiving core like the Cardinals this year. So listen, if I were a Rams fan, I'd be worried about those injuries for sure.
Shaking in my boots, what I would say here. But let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. I want to say one thing here, and that is Justin Pugh is back. Hallelujah. This probably one of the very few times, and like you said a little earlier, probably the healthiest we have been as a Cardinal team right now. And we're having our pieces back together in the offensive line, which is really, really huge. What are your thoughts on Pugh coming back?
Well, yeah, that's huge because there have been some real struggles in terms of getting consistent play out of the guard positions. Josh Jones has struggled at guard. He's a third round pick from last year who's really was more of a tackle coming out of college. They've had some, Sean Harlow's filled in reasonably well at points, but it's, Pugh is just so much better than anyone else they have at guard. So, this is what happens when your team builds up a lead in terms of win and loss record, like the Cardinals have, and then you're able to have that luxury of resting guys who are banged up and not try to play them, because you're trying to make the playoffs, like we saw last year, resting Kyler Murray, resting Hopkins, not rushing guys back. That's a luxury you have when you are in a lead, and the Cardinals played it smart with all these injuries, and they're getting healthy at the right time. And people who know what they're talking about and are have been around the league for a long time, and some of the best analysts out there, they often talk about teams getting healthy down the stretch, and those are often the teams who go on runs, right? There's a lot of good teams in the NFL, but the good teams that get healthy are the ones that make that push late in the season, the playoffs. And the Cardinals, knock on wood, right now are positioning themselves to be about the healthiest good team in the NFL. So as a Cardinals fan, there's reason to be excited about all of the players getting healthy, including but not limited to Justin Pugh.
Right, 100%, exactly. Another notable thing to talk about when it comes down to who's in, who's out. It's going to be Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds will not be playing this game. It's kind of that situation right now where if you were going to tell me the first week that he was out, I would be panicking. But James Conner has stepped in so well that I'm not really worried too much. And I know Benjamin's going to be able to kind of play the role that Chase Edmonds did, the receiving out of the backfield if he can, and, take the snaps when Conner needs to kind of sit on the bench. But I'm not really worried about the Chase Edmonds situation, in my personal opinion. Let him rest another week if he needs it. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. I love Chase Edmonds. He is a really good player. Your team is better with him than it is without him. But this team has so many playmakers, so many guys that can catch the ball. And everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people look at James Conner and think, oh, he's just a first and second down back. Yep. But he can catch the ball. Like, for a big back, he's pretty. Yes. He's had a couple one-handed catches, including that one for a touchdown recently. And Benjamin has played well. And then just in general, my philosophy on the running back situation is, I like what the Cardinals have done. You have a stable of running backs that you can rotate in there. And when a guy like Chase Edmonds is banged up, you bring in, Benjamin. And, and because this offense has so many guys like Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins that you can get the ball to, so many weapons, you just adjust your game plan and you still got more weapons than the other guys, even with Edmonds out.
Yeah, true. Let me give a big shout out to my guy here, No Fluff AZ Sports Talk, with a $2 donation. Appreciate that. He says, these Cardinals are different. Keep sleeping on us. And it's so crazy right now, man, that we're this far into the season, going to our week 14, and we're still kind of talked about not very much. I think I was watching Sunday Night Football yesterday, and then they were looking at the standings, and they were talking about, oh, look at these, this top heavy team, blah, 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 blah. And then the way that they changed their voice when they talked about the Cardinals, they're like, oh, and the Cardinals, like they didn't expect us to be at the top, but it's okay. Like I think we've talked about this, back and forth, up and down, side to side, and I'm cool with it. I think we are better as an underdog type of team. And these next 5 games, including this game here as well, it's going to be a tough stretch coming through, because I always felt like it's tougher to keep your position that you are than to chase after, because there's that whole kind of stigma of, don't be what's it like try to be like the hunter, not the huntee or something like that. So what are your thoughts on the whole sleeping on the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, and I never like to be that guy that, oh, nobody believes in us, because everyone says that. Even people who everyone believes in say that. But it has been, it's been a little frustrating to see that. And I watch ESPN. I follow stuff on social media, on YouTube. PFF, all the folks that talk football for the most part, I'm kind of catching what they're saying. And there does seem to be this, well, I don't quite believe in the Cardinals thing. And then the people who actually are believing, most of them are almost like reluctantly believing in them. And as a fan, for me, I'm good with that, because it makes the wins that much sweeter, right?
It does.
When people don't believe in you and the Cardinals start winning and keep winning, it makes those wins that much more enjoyable than if they were if they were viewed as the dominant team that they deserve to be. So I don't mind that. I don't complain about it. I'm enjoying it.
100%. I agree, man. Let's move on to the next topic here. Obviously, we have a lot of different topics here that I'm very, very excited about. And I appreciate it, man, honestly, for getting on here. I always like chopping it up with you here.
Yeah.
Let me give a big shout out to you here real quick, Joseph. If you guys don't know, this guy right here, Joseph, the Cardinal Rule, has his own YouTube channel as well. He does Cardinal content. And if you're interested in subscribing to him, I highly recommend it. It is pinned it is actually in the description of this video. So when you get an opportunity, go to the description of the video, click on the link, and you should be going to his page. Go ahead and show him some love over there.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I just want a quick shout out. I've got a live stream scheduled for this Friday with Brett Coleman, for anyone who's familiar with his work. Great NFL YouTuber. He's graciously agreed to be on my channel. So check that out. Got some good stuff coming this week. But I appreciate that, Mike, very much.
Yeah, man, of course. Let's move on to the next topic here. This is the biggest one, man. This is the biggest one. Win today and get into the playoffs here. Now, this is obviously very exciting for Cardinal fans just in general, because when you think of playoffs, it seemed like a distant memory since 2015 was here. But now we're controlling our own destiny. We are a 10-2 team, possibly 11-2, or maybe 10-3, just really depending on how this game comes through. But this right here, man, win today, get into the playoffs. How are you feeling about this?
Man, yeah, you're right. It feels like forever since 2015. So I'm excited about it. In fact, I'll be honest, I've been so kind of just paying attention to some of the stuff we're going to talk about in a few minutes in terms of the seeding and things that it escaped me. It didn't hit me like, wait a second, like we're about to clinch the playoffs, and to be able to watch meaningful football in January and February as a Cardinals fan. I mean, that's what you watch for, right? And that's what it's all about. So it's just this really exciting feeling. Like, man, we're going to be in meaningful games this postseason, as long as And I mean, the odds of them not making the playoffs at this point are pretty close to nil. But it's that exciting moment. It's like, I mean, with the holidays coming, it's like Christmas morning, right? Just we're getting ready to hopefully open up that present of a playoff spot.
For some reason, it muted me. My bad.
yeah.
I wasn't sure. No, I don't know. It was something weird happened. I don't know what happened. But I was saying, and we're having a Christmas game too. So, man, that's even sweeter too. So, wake up Christmas, man. We got some football here for the Cardinal fans. But big shout out here. I got another super chat from my guy MGO. He says, if we lose this, I don't know what to say. They are without Ramsey. We are at home, even though we play bad at home, but we are more healthier. What are your thoughts? And I'll give you my thoughts after this.
I wouldn't overreact to that. I mean, obviously, I think the Cardinals should win. I want them to win. But, the NFL, there's so much parity. Even when you're talking about the really good teams, the Rams are a really good team. They are in this upper echelon with the Cardinals. And they say any given Sunday, but they meet it, man. When you have two really good teams, the oblong shaped ball bounces funny sometimes. And it's gonna happen, right? I mean, you look at some of the other best teams in the league, and they've lost games that they shouldn't have lost. So I'm not going to overreact if they do lose. It's a good game in prime time against a good team, and on the path to the Super Bowl, there's a reasonable chance we might have to play them again if it happens, and that'd be the game I'd be more interested in how the outcome works out.
Right. Yeah, and let me have my take on this here as well. I agree, definitely. Obviously, coming with a loss, you get a little frustrated. But I think in the long term goal, like we still have 4 games after this one. On paper, we probably should win it. But man, that's exactly what we said against the Green Bay game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they came out guns blazing. And I keep always like to saying, we were almost about to get that opportunity to come out with the W there if AJ Green just turned around. But it's not on all AJ Green. Honestly, if they started a lot sooner, it could have been a much different game. But it's just kind of the way that the cookie crumbled here. But I'm not going to overreact as well. Will I be upset? Yes, I will be. But I mean, that's just me being me. But tomorrow I'll be better and be like, hey, let's think about the Lions type of thing. You know what I mean?
100%. Yep.
All right, perfect. Let's move on to the next one here, man. And I think this right here is something that we definitely need to talk about, because if you guys didn't watch the weekend games, there were some pretty big games, and obviously being that there's no Cardinal game on Sunday, I was still watching football because I'm very, very heavy in watching football on Sundays because I love to watch my fantasy football team score, and I just love football in general. But there was 2 games that were really exciting to watch. One of them was the Bills versus the Buccaneers because we all wanted to put our Bills hat on. That game didn't start the way we all thought it was going to, but it sure the heck ended very, very enticingly, and it was very, very exciting to see. Unfortunately, the Bucs ended up getting the win, and then you have the other side of the coin, which was the Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Now, I didn't expect too much from the Bears. I thought that way that it started, I was like, oh boy, here we go, division rival. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the Bears might have this, but Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, man, he ended up coming up, and both those teams are now 10-3 and just one game under the Arizona Cardinals, man. How are you feeling about how big this game is and those 2 teams sniffing around our butts trying to getting our spot?
Yeah, this game is huge for that number 1 seed. And it's the Packers I worry more about because the Cardinals lost them. So the head-to-head record, right? So the tiebreaker is leaning towards the Packers. So you want to get that number 1 seed outright because what that could mean is you're playing in Lambeau, to make it to the Super Bowl. You might have to play in Lambeau in January, February, or whatever. in that cold weather. And as much as the Cardinals have this great record on the road, and yes, as much as they showed the ability to play in bad weather in Chicago, you want to play at home if you can through the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, this game is important, not just in terms of the possibility of winning, making a playoff spot, but it does a couple of things. One, it keeps the Cardinals ahead in the number 1 seed, but it also pretty much secures the division, if not completely. Like the Rams would have to finish with a better record than the Cardinals to win the division, because the Cardinals would secure the best record in the division. They're currently 4-0, and the Rams are, I think, 2-2, or I think
that sounds right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, about right. Yeah, Rams are in the division. They're actually 1-2. They have a lot of divisions games late. So, okay, if the Cardinals lost this one, they'd be 4-1. They would have then, if they lost to Seattle, then they'd be 4-2, and the Rams could theoretically then have a better, or tie the division record, and then they'd have to have a better record against common opponents. The bottom line is, if the Cardinals win this, I think they pretty much secured the only way the Rams could win the division is if the Rams win out and the Cardinals pretty much lose out from there. So it has all these implications in terms of all but sealing the division, but that number 1 seed with Green Bay in particular nipping on the heels of the Cardinals, that's an important thing to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me give a big shout out here to Ariana Ortiz. It says, howdy, partner. Go Cards. And flipping off picture. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so very much. With the LA hat. Oh, that hurts my heart, but it's okay. I appreciate the super chat. But I agree, man. You think, so to you, Green Bay is the team to watch, right? Because they got the...
I mean, I think there's an argument that Tampa Bay is the better team, but because of the tiebreaker situation, like having that head-to-head loss, in terms of in terms of like, okay, if you say if the Cardinals played the Packers 10 times on a neutral field and played the Bucks 10 times on a neutral field, who gets more wins against the Cardinals? Maybe I'd say the Bucks. I think they're a better team, but than the Packers. But in terms of the team that's in a better position to knock the Cardinals off for that number 1 seed based on that head-to-head game, the Packers are the ones I'm worried about.
That's fair. Okay. I mean, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. Definitely awesome points. But I'm at Tampa Bay. You know what actually is pissing me off a little bit?
Okay.
Before we change the subject, because I have a comment here that I want to definitely shout out here real quick, and it's from a 49ers fan. But somebody asked me, do you think the NFL is trying to set up for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers versus the freaking New England Patriots and Bill Belichick? And to me, like, I answered it really quickly. I was like, oh, no. But when I put my head to sleep that night, it was so hard for me to sleep because I was like, darn it, if the NFL would try to rig something, this is what it would be, man. And I would be pissed off to see that. I think I would veto the Super Bowl. I think I would. I would veto it.
I tend to not buy those kind of conspiracy theories. I just don't think that's happening. But if there's ever a situation that narrative wise is enticing, that's the one, right? I mean, Tom Brady against Bill Belichick. I mean, I want to see the Cardinals win it, but man, I just hope the football gods don't like that narrative better than what's.
I'm right there with you, man. Right there with you. This is the comment I want to talk about, and I was actually I brought this up on my NFC West roundtable that I go on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, by the way, at 7:10 p.m. AZ time if you're interested. But the 49ers, they just won. If the Rams lose today, and they have another matchup with each other, and Kyle Shanahan always has Sean McVay's number. How realistic in your mind, before we keep moving on to Cardinal talk a little later on, can the 49ers make a strong push to become the second spot in the NFC West?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Right now, as it stands, they are 7-6. So they are 1 game behind the Rams. So if the Cardinals win, they're much closer. Now, the division record, the Niners are 1-4 in the division. The Rams are 1-2. So, the Rams have an advantage in terms of division record. So, the Niners would really they'd have to probably get the better record. But, look at the Niners remaining opponents. They've got the Falcons, which they're a frisky team, but they're not a good team. They've got the Titans. That's a tough one. They've got the Texans, and then they've got the Rams head-to-head last week of the season. So, it's very much possible that what you're talking about is going to come down to that last game head to head, week 18. Isn't that weird to say, week 18? The Rams have the Seahawks, Vikings, Ravens. I mean, the Rams, I think, have a tougher slate of opponents leading up to that game. So it's absolutely possible. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. These next 5 games for us, 4 games for most of the people that are in the NFL is going to be a roller coaster ride, not just for the NFC, man, but the AFC as well. It's shaking up to being a very exciting end of the season. But let's keep on talking about Cardinal talk, because that's exactly what people are here for. Let's move on to the next topic here, which I'm excited about here, man. If I were to ask you right now, look in your, what are those called? Magic 8 balls.
Yes.
And tell me what the Cardinals need to do to win out this game. What are you going to tell me?
I think what they need to do is continue to do really a good job in terms of their pass defense, especially on 3rd and 4th downs. Because what happened in the first game, the way the Cardinals won, is the Cardinals offense kept doing what it's going to do, which is put up points. But that defense kept slowing down the Rams when it came to the passing game. Now, the Rams were actually running the ball really effectively in the first half. They were averaging like 6 yards per carry, but they'd get to 3rd down and the Cardinals would stop and they'd have to punt, or there'd be a turnover, or they'd have to get field goals. So the Cardinals were scoring touchdowns and the Rams were scoring field goals and punting. And then the Rams fell behind, and then they only ran the ball twice in the second half. So that's what they need to do, is same thing they did last time, which is that pass defense. And the Cardinals are in the top 5 in stopping 3rd and 4th downs. So they need to keep doing that so that the Rams fall behind, and then the Rams can't run the ball.
I agree, and I've seen it, man. I've seen it. Get on top of these Rams. They will they will go away from the run game. They will. I've seen it in every single one of their games. Get Matthew Stafford frustrated. He will probably throw you a pick 6 and maybe another interception right after.
Right. Get them playing from behind.
Man. Yeah, 100%. It's good. It's crazy. I think you said it best. I do think that time of possession is going to be a big need here. Obviously, James Conner is going to tote the rock, and I can see him probably have easily 18 plus, maybe 20 plus carries. I mean, I guess it really just depends on how the game goes through, and if it's working, keep it going. But Kyler Murray, he's going to come back and hopefully light it up, because yes, we saw him have 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing in the Chicago Bears game. But in terms of his passing yards, it was only 150 something, 160 something, just because the inclement weather that was happening that day. Do you see Kyler Murray have a huge game this game?
I think so. Yards? Yes, I do think so. I think, I think, again, with the cornerbacks out for the Rams and the Cardinals, I think they're going to want to put up points, and a lot of points, to get that lead like they did last time. Playing in much better weather. Kyler, he seems to be, really, really healthy. I mean, really completely recovered. It looks like, the way he played against Chicago. Yep. I think they're ready to come out and make a statement. And, under the bright lights and Monday night, I mean, this is that kind of game to get respected. And yeah, I think he's going to have a really big game.
Hope so, man. Fingers crossed. I got this. Here we go. Niners Sickness Podcast. This is the guy who went ahead and put the comment before. He says, "Beat the Rams. We want the 5th seed." $2 donation. Appreciate that, man. And I do think that it's very, very possible for you guys to, the way you guys are running the ball, the way you guys are using Deebo Samuel, keep it going, I guess.
And Niners Sickness, Beto is a good guy. I've been on his stream before, so appreciate the comment, Beto.
Nice. Perfect. Awesome. Well, what Cardinals need to do, I think it's pretty simple. Like you said, it's all about just being on the touchdowns while they get field goals, man. What do you think is going to be some X factors for this Arizona Cardinals? If I were to ask you, give me one X factor for the offense, one X factor for the defense, and I'll give you mine.
Okay. I'm going to say X factor on the offense. I'm going to go with Rondale Moore, because as much as Jalen Ramsey, being out matters, the other cornerback that they're missing is one of their major slot corners. And, Rondale Moore hasn't had a big game in a while, but I think with an injured slot corner and I think that there could be and then with, certainly Edmonds being out, I think some of those kind of 3rd down throws that would have gone to Edmonds might be going to Rondale Moore. So that's who I'm going to say is the X factor on offense.
All right. What about defense for you?
So on defense, I'm going to go with a guy who I think hasn't got enough love this year in terms of just a guy who's having an amazing, well, I shouldn't say amazing, but a really, really good season, and people aren't talking about him enough, and that's Robert Alford. He has actually been the Cardinals' most consistent and best graded cornerback this year. And with all the injuries and with, and with Tyler Higbee out, he's the number one cornerback for the Cardinals right now in terms of playing on the outside. And I think we may see him on Cooper Kupp a lot. And if they can kind of, quiet down Cooper Kupp and even shut him down, that'll go a long way to getting this offense to be quiet.
I like it. All right. Let me go ahead and start off with my X factor in terms of for the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to go with Rodney Hudson.
I thought you would go James Conner again. Because,
I was going to. I was like, just like James Conner. No. I'm going to go Rodney Hudson. And obviously, I want to give shout outs to the whole line. Hopefully, we have a very, very good game and keep Kyler Murray upright. And the reason why I'm specifically picking Rodney Hudson is because obviously, I think Aaron Donald's going to be a guy who's going to be lining up across from him a good amount of the times. And last game, we didn't hear a lot of Aaron Donald. So I would love for that to continue. I mean, just straight up Rodney Hudson, Pro Bowler center. And I'm super glad we got him from the Raiders in that trade. That's going to be my X factor. Hopefully he can maintain Aaron Donald like he did in the first game. Now for the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go with Jordan Hicks. I want to see Jordan Hicks have the exact same game. Well, not the exact, but the same kind of production-ish as he did against the Chicago Bears game. I loved, was it 2 sacks? And just that many, like he had a lot of tackles.
Like
just
12 tackles or something like that, yeah.
Yes. I want to see that Jordan Hicks back up again. Whenever you see the ball, just go after it, man. That's exactly what I want to see. I mean, obviously, Zaven Collins has been a talk towards the beginning of the season because we're all asking, where is he? Are we going to see him more? But being that Jordan Hicks has played to the level that I didn't expect him to. Now, there's some things that he could be working on. Maybe the run game, the run defense.
Yeah,
but
right.
I do think he's overall having a very, very good season. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think Hicks he's having statistically a good season. He's putting up a lot of tackles. He's got a decent number of sacks. I do think that he's a little bit of a step slow when it comes to the run game, and sometimes it seems like he's maybe shooting the wrong gap or something. There's just some issues where I think part of the Cardinals' problem on run defense has to do with him. But at the same time, his experience and what he brings is probably part of the reason they're good in pass defense. So, overall, I think he's having a good season there, all across the board. But I love your pick of Rodney Hudson. And we've talked about Rodney Hudson multiple times this season,
right? And
what a huge addition he's been. And, there's so many things that the Cardinals do on offense that he allows that are predicated on what he does, right? In terms of helping that offensive line to be that much better. And you're absolutely right. Aaron Donald had last game, he had like his worst graded game or in the PFF that he's had in years, if not in his career. It was one of his worst games of his career against the Cardinals. And Rodney Hudson, can help make that happen again. And, Aaron Donald, with Ramsey out, Aaron Donald is the blue chipper on this defense that we have to try to neutralize. So Hudson is going to be key to helping neutralize him, and if they can do that, they go a long way towards winning this game.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you, I know you're a stat guy. Von Miller. And I'll give you a little bit to see what is Von Miller in terms of, has he been productive for the Rams? I know when he got traded over to them, he took about a week or two to kind of get into the games.
I don't think he's done much. Let me kind of take a look at that. But let's see, looking at Von Miller, let me bring him up his stats on his roster, because I know he had kind of been quiet. And let's see what he's doing in terms of, here we go. Von Miller, like in his his recent games. Okay. He has, he hasn't done much. He had 3 tackles, no sacks against San Francisco on November 15th. He had 5 tackles no sacks against Green Bay, 1 tackle, no sacks against Jacksonville. So he has not really, he hasn't really lived up to what people had hoped. Now, maybe that'll change, but I mean, it certainly has not had the impact of other midseason acquisitions, like, I don't know, Zach Ertz for the Cardinals. Guys who actually made a difference.
Exactly. Rub it in them, man. Rub it in their face for sure. All right, let me give a big shout out to my guy Bruno here. He says more, and obviously means Rondell Moore. He says touchdown, calling it tonight. He's been quiet. What do you say about this, man? I know he was your X factor.
Yeah, I like it. I think there's a reasonable chance that, and we're all about the bold predictions, right? Last time we did a stream together, we had some pretty nice bold predictions. So I like it. I say go for it.
Perfect. Awesome. If you guys are just getting in here, definitely do me a huge favor. Smack that like button. And I know I say it a lot, but it definitely does help the channel grow out tremendously. So let's do that. I know that we were kind of, is that twittering? Is that the right
tweeting?
Word?
Yes.
Tweeting. There you go. Tweeting back and forth during the last game, the Chicago Bears. And we did get some right predictions. Let's do that. Is that cool with you? Bold prediction time?
I like it.
All right. Let's do that. And then we'll open up the Q&A with the last maybe 5 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes or so. I want to make sure that we get 45 minutes because I know that we want to watch the Cardinal game. Oh, I'm so stoked. Okay, bold prediction time.
Okay. So you want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah, you're the guest, and what you got?
All right. I'm gonna mix it up here. I'm gonna say on offense, the Cardinals score touchdowns with 5 different players.
Okay.
That could be rushing, offense, defense. I'm not going to double dip Kyler throwing, right? But 5 touchdowns, including it could be defense, but 5 different players in some way score a touchdown.
5 touchdowns.
We're looking for bold, right? But last time I undersold it, right? I said 3 interceptions and they upped me. So let's go 5 different players score a touchdown for the Cardinals.
Nice. That's a great prediction. Now I'm going to give one. You'll give one more, and then I'll give the next one. Okay. Okay. Full prediction time. Oh crap! I'm like drawing blank here. I'm so nervous. Why am I so nervous? Because I think it's the game's coming.
This is a big game, man.
It is a huge game. I think bold prediction time. I think that the Rams are going to be held to 10 points in this whole game. Bold prediction, ladies and gentlemen. The Arizona Cardinals are to keep stacking it on them, but the Rams are only going to be left with 10 points in the entire game.
That's a bold. That's bold. I mean, they've got a good offense, but man, I like it. All right, I'm going to go with one on the defensive side of the ball. This isn't as bold, but I'm going to say 2 fumble recoveries for the Cardinals.
I like that. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's get. I want to go on the defensive side of the ball. No, I guess that was a defensive.
You just went defensive, right?
Yeah. I did go, yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get bold prediction here. Dang. Oh my God. I can't. Why am I drawing a blank? Let's go with Eno Benjamin being more productive than my boy James Conner this game.
Okay. Do you want that to be yards, touchdowns, both?
I'm going to go touchdowns and yards. I think he's going to be that one sneaky guy that Chase Edmonds is whenever he goes to CenturyLink Field or goes to Seattle. Okay. That's what Eno Benjamin is going to be for us this game. So he's going to be more productive in terms of yards and touchdowns in this game. That I know that's a far reach, but I couldn't think of anything else.
No, listen, that is bold. It's going to have to be, maybe where he has a couple big plays because he'll get fewer touches barring, injury. Listen, that's my last prediction. Someone commented in the chat that it's not bold and 2 fumble recovers probably isn't bold, but yours is bold. So I think my 5 players for touchdowns is pretty bold, but
that's very bold.
But you have 2 that across that consistently are bolder than mine. I'll say that. So,
all right. Well, hopefully one of them works out for us, man. All right. Well, let's get to the section here. Let's get to Q&A, and I love how you guys do it. In your channel, if you want to put a huge Q by your question. We can definitely go ahead and start, opening up the question lines here as well. Obviously, if you guys do a super chat, it attracts my eyes because it's beautifully and it's colored. So keep that in mind as well. But you don't have to do it. Just put a huge Q right next to your name, write your question, and me and Joseph can go ahead and answer it here. And if it's okay with you, Joseph, do you have about 10 minutes left or like 9 minutes left?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see if we can get maybe to the 50-minute mark, and then we'll kind of call it quits. Now, just FYI, ladies and gentlemen, I will be doing a post-game show after the game as well. So if we're sad, if we're happy, I will be here for a shoulder to cry on or a shoulder to be happy with after the game as well. So keep that in mind. All right, here comes some questions through. We got my guy Brandon. Let's go with my guy Brandon. So, question: are you going to stream during the game? This is a very good question. This is simple. Not this game. I'm leaning towards the Lions game. So the Lions game most likely will be the game that I will be doing the play-by-play with. So great question. Yeah. Let's see what Not Mario has to say. How many missed field goals will be missed? Oh, this is a great question. Great question. What do you think?
I'm going to say none. I know Prater had a rough game. Some people said it was because I think his wife had a baby, and all too well how that kind of can make things challenging enough at home. Then the long snapper, but I think that, and part of it is I think they're going to be scoring more touchdowns and field goals. But
true. I would say I would put a number on this if we were playing the Seahawks, because I feel like every time we play the Seahawks, our kicker just forgets to know how to freaking kick. But I agree with you. I'm going to go with none. I think we're going to be pretty good. Prater's going to be amazing for us. These questions are flying, bro.
Nice.
Let's see what's Kiro. Oh, this guy. He's on both of our channels. All right, let's get some love. Did you see that Sean Harlow is starting over Justin Pugh?
I didn't see that. Is he?
I don't know.
I'll have to check that out. I didn't see that. And if that is the case, it's probably one of those things where, because maybe they have him healthy, but as a backup, I did not see anything about that. So I didn't see that. We'll see when the game time comes around, I guess.
Right, exactly. That would be interesting. That would be very, very interesting to see. Because I'm excited about Justin Pugh coming, but if he doesn't, that would suck. Wolf, what's up, Wolf? He says, can you stream the game live so I don't have to listen to the broadcasters next week?
Yeah,
next week.
That's right.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, let's see what some other questions here. This is a good question. Arizona Cardinal fan. Will Kyler Murray still win MVP? I know we talked about this on your channel here. What's your question or thoughts on this?
Well, it's interesting because I actually tweeted something about this today where I said that a strong performance tonight is a must for Kyler to have a chance to win MVP. So he has a chance. The odds are against him. Missing 3 games is a big deal. And Tom Brady is having a heck of a season, if you haven't noticed. Yeah. And as much as we Cardinals fans think maybe we love Kyler Murray and we want him to be MVP, this is an award that is not voted on exclusively by Cardinals fans. So there has to be a compelling, and the MVP is a narrative-driven, award. So the Cardinals wrap up the number 1 seed, and Kyler goes on a tear for these remaining games. Then starting tonight, on Monday Night Football with national eyes on him, he could. But I feel like he has to have a big game tonight to even have a chance at that.
Yeah. I agree with that, man. Definitely. 5 games left? He needs to drop at least 3, maybe 4 touchdowns on each game to make sure he's back in contention. Because you're right, Tom Brady. As much as I hate to say it, this guy is playing at 42 hurts my back. Just watching him hurts me internally. And so I guess kudos for him. Let's see. Let's get to these other questions here. Let's see what my guy Tim says here. He says, question, who's worse, Rams fans or Cowboys fans?
Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
It's Cowboys. I
agree.
I lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for 5 years when I was in grad school. And I met a lot of nice people, but there's just any fan base that calls themselves America's team has got a level of hubris that I just can't even deal with. So to me, it's Cowboys.
I agree. And I feel like they're super delusional, man. They can be 1-8 and they'll be like, oh yeah, we're so good. I'm like, are you even watching this freaking season? What's going on? I have a really good question here. let's get this. Let's get your score predictions, but not just you. Everybody in the chat, give me your score predictions right now on the comments below. Let me know what you think, Joseph. What you got?
All right. So I had to up it after my bold prediction because the math didn't work out in terms of, number of touchdowns. So I'm going 37-24 Arizona.
37-24. I like that. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I got to stay with my bold prediction too, huh? Sheesh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do this. I'm going to go 31. No. I'm going to go 34 Cardinals. And then I'm going to go 10 Rams.
Nice. 34 was my original score, but those 5 touchdowns, I got to fit them in there, right?
Yeah, 100%. Here we go. We have Print made it. This is funny. He says, "Dang, I'm a Cowboys fan, by the way, and it's true." Gotta love it.
Much respect that you'll acknowledge that, though. So maybe you're one of the good Cowboys fans, right?
100%. Appreciate you, Print made it, man. Thank you so very much for being here. Let's get back to the questions. We have Dennis over here saying, "How many tutties for James Conner?"
So for me, I'm gonna say 1 because I gotta go with my bold prediction. So he's got to get one of those, but only one of those 5, right?
Yeah, true. I like 1 too. I think 1 is good. I think he's going to have a good amount of yards, if not over 100. I think he's going to push it. Dang it, but that conflicts with my bold prediction. Okay, that Benjamin didn't really count. And realistically, I think Benjamin's going to be very close to 100, if not over it, and then 1 touchdown, either receiving or rushing.
That'd be a big game. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Let's keep on reading into the comments here. We have my guy Dakota up in here. He says, "Question, how many interceptions in this game for the defense? Also, Stonewall, offensive line, defensive line."
Okay. So I think that there's going to be, so if we're talking just for the Rams, I'm going to say 1 interception, as much as I'd love to see a repeat of last week. And, certainly – Stafford he has shown up to be prone to throw some interceptions sometimes, but I'm going to say 1.
Okay. I'm going 2. I'm going to go with my guy Robert Alford, and I'm going to get Marco Wilson his first interception of the year. Let me just put this on here right now, and I do got a super chat. I'll give you a shout out right now. We got my guy Tim saying Odell will win this game by himself. Can I do one thing here real quick? Give me one second. Shame. Darn well, Odell Beckham is not going to win this game by himself. I'm not even going to humor this comment. Let me give a shout out to here, Zachary. Appreciate the super chat. Says, "What tight end will be the best for the Rams today?" Now, obviously, Higbee isn't playing. Who was the person that you said that's going to be their backup?
Yeah, the Munt. And Munt has 1 reception for 9 yards. And he's they have another guy, Blanton, who's had 2 receptions for 8 yards. So what you see right there is they have not had their other tight ends involved in the offense at all this year. But Munt is the guy who's graded best amongst the active tight ends. Johnny Munt, 4th season out of Oregon.
Gotcha. Okay, and my guy Tim, he's actually.
You know what? Sorry, Munt is on the injured reserve. Apologies. So, man, their second best guy is on the IR in the Rams.
Oh God,
gosh,
it just gets uglier.
All right, it's Kendall Blanton, rookie out of Missouri, who's got 2 catches, I think.
Wow. All right, my guy Tim, who made that comment for Odell. I'm sorry, let me take my shame bell away. He's actually a Cardinal fan. He was just a joke. Okay. Appreciate you, man, for coming through, man. Thanks so much.
He's going to win the game for the Cardinals on his own. Right?
Exactly, right? Well, he's going to get a catch, fumble in. It's going to be, pick 6, or not pick 6. It's going to be a fumble return back for a touchdown. All right, brother. We're going to end our stream right now. I appreciate everybody for coming through. What are your final thoughts before we end our stream?
This is a huge game. This is what you play for, right? If you're a Cardinal, if you're the Cardinals, and as a Cardinals fan, this is what you wanted. A game that the eyes of all football fans across the country are watching. Monday Night Football with the best record in the NFL. Like, this is, at this point in the season, this is the best we could have hoped for. And so enjoy it, take it in, soak it in. As a guy who's been a Cardinals fan for a long time, you never know how long it's going to be till these moments are back. So make sure you're enjoying the game wherever you're watching it.
Yeah, that's actually very, very well said, honestly, man. I think once we're kind of like in this state, it's almost a state of shock for me right now, being that the Cardinals are where they are, because this last time it happened was 2015. And I do think that that was a very good season, but there's something that tells me, man, that this is so much magic that's happening within this locker room right now, and I'm very excited. But this is the first step. Take down the Rams. Let's solidify the spot in the NFC West. Let's worry about the Lions next, and kind of one game at a time type of mentality for me right now. But all right, man, appreciate you for being on here again. As always, it was an absolute blast. All right, man, have a great rest of your day, man.
You too, man. Take care.
Later.